I want to tell you about my school. That's it right there, South Heights Elementary, and I love it. If I could and my wife was okay with it, I would marry it. I love it that much. I don't need an alarm clock to get up in the morning. It's beautiful. It's not new, it's not fancy, but it's filled with passion and inspiration and great possibilities every day. Now, one thing I want to let you know, it's going to be kind of critical throughout the rest of the talk, is sometimes South Heights Elementary gets called the 1199. And that comes from our address, 1199 Madison Street. We used to be a school, and I'll talk about this, that wasn't a school to be that proud of. But when we made the change, we decided to own the address. So a lot of times we're called the 1199. These are my kids. Beautiful, aren't they? I mean, they're just awesome. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Let me give you the demographics. Demographics are 93% of them come from homes in poverty. Last year, 55 students at South Heights actually were considered homeless. But here's the cool part. 100% of them were born to be amazing. They were born to be incredible. And our job at South Heights is to make sure they get there. That's my team. I love my team. It's about 100 of them. They're pretty cool looking, aren't they? Not your usual group of educators. That's everybody up there. And I tell them I love them because as a leader, you've got two choices. You can lead with a heart or you can lead with a hammer. And I choose the heart every time. I've got a saying, we got a belief at South Heights, lead like you want to be led. I definitely want to be led with a heart. I have the best job in the world. And I'll probably say that 10 more times before my time is up. I have the best job in the world. When I don't go to work, I miss it. When I wake up in the morning, it doesn't take a snooze to get me up. I'm ready to go. It wasn't always that way at South Heights, though. I always loved my job, but it used to be a tough place to work. As we understand, South Heights was in the bottom 25 of all elementary schools, all schools in the state of Kentucky. And that's not a place you want to be. This is not golf. Low scores are not good. We wanted to make improvements, and what we decided to do was to quit focusing on strategy and start focusing on culture. Once we did that, our current story is last year we were 27th in the state from the top. We're a 5-time national model school. We've had 3 books written about us. We're a chapter in 1. I should have retired after that. We're a National School Change Award winner, and we get visitors from all around the country. It's a great place to be. How did we do that? How did we do that? It was, again, that focus on culture, and I'm going to kind of summarize that with some stories. I found my role as principal to become a storyteller, and here's some stories about how we focused on culture and made these changes. Kevin Bacon. You gotta love him. I remember when I was actually younger than him, and somehow I am older than him now, as my wife reminds me. What does Kevin Bacon have to do with school leadership or leadership in general? Well, when I think of Kevin Bacon, I think of really 2 things other than great dancing. I think about his connectivity as evidenced by the game 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon back in the 80s and 90s. I don't know if you remember, everybody's connected to Kevin Bacon. It wasn't the 6 Degrees of Walter Cronkite. It's the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. And I also think about, I was counting in my head the other day, I also think about how long he has been successful. I just rented a new movie the other night with Kevin Bacon as the star. He's in his 4th decade. So as a school leader, that's what I want. I want connectivity. I want to be able to do things that connect with everybody. And I also want to be successful year after year and even after I'm gone. So what we do with Kevin Bacon is we kind of have 3 core beliefs that are summarized by his leadership. Number 1, ideas rule, not people. Number 2, work outside your job description. And number 3, everybody's on the team. So let's talk about ideas rule, not people. At many traditional organizations, you've got a top-down kind of management. You've got top-down leadership. Well, if I'm going to be like Kevin Bacon, we have to be able to solve problems. We have to be able to churn out ideas left and right, left and right. Well, if you leave it to me, you're going to get 3 or 4 really possibly good ideas, and then that's it. And so you've set the lid on your organization of that. Well, at South Heights, our leadership model, our organization is very organic. So ideas rule, not people means anybody can lead. Anybody can have an idea. So if this gentleman here has an idea, then we all go and follow him. And if that gentleman back there has an idea, then we shift and we go and follow them. Sounds kind of chaotic. It might scare some of you. Scares me every once in a while. But here's our filter. Here's why it works. Because all of our ideas have to go through our mission statement. We succeed, no exceptions, no excuses. and our vision, which is we're going to change the world. That's the controller. That's what makes sure all those ideas work together in unison. Okay, work outside of our job description. Work outside of our job description? You don't want people working on their job description? Of course we do. Everybody does their job. But if we limit it to just that, we're totally missing the boat. So at South Heights, I've got 100 people. I've got 100 people that do their job, but I've got 100 people that have passions and interests that really can lend themselves to our organization. So we take inventory of those every year. So we've taken just what they can do and made what they want to do. I'm a firm believer if you tell people that they have to do something, you'll get exactly what you told them you have to do. You get here at 7, you leave at 3, they'll get there at 6:59 and leave at 3:01. But if you make them feel like heroes and you tap into their passion and their interest, then you get them coming in at 6:30 and then they're staying till 7 p.m. because they own it. They're a part of it. Everybody's on the team. Well, at South Heights, my goal is when you walk in, you don't notice who's principal. Anybody can be a principal. Anybody can walk around and lead, and anybody can engage anybody and take them to the side. If I'm not doing my job, if I'm not treating a kid well, the custodial manager can pull me to the side and say, hey, Rob, you're missing the boat. And that's okay. If a teacher doesn't agree with what I'm doing, she can shut the door and let a few expletives fly. That's okay, as long as we can open that door and walk out together. Now, here's my evidence. Here's my first story. Back in 2004, when we won the National School Change Award, most schools, when they win an award like that, it's in Fordham University in New York City, the principal and the 3 prettiest teachers board a plane and they go. That's not our school. So we chartered a bus and we asked everybody on our staff, do you want to go? And most of them did. So we filled up a bus, 14-hour ride to New York City, 24-hour whirlwind tour of Manhattan and all the sights. And then we went on that stage and we accepted that award together. Now, we had to get right back on the bus because we couldn't really afford to stay night after night in New York City. It's kind of a pricey place. And so when we got back on the bus, I looked for one lady only, because I wanted to wish everybody, a safe trip, and I wanted to give them a hug. And there was one lady, my cafeteria, little cafeteria lady in her 70s, Miss Geraldine. And she told me her dream was always to go to the Big Apple. So I wanted to go to her and say, well, how'd you feel, Geraldine? I thought she was going to give me a hug or a kiss. And she shook my hand and she said, never been to California. So I was like, okay, I better look for an award in California. But here's the cool thing, and here's why everybody being on the team is important. Later on that year, Miss Geraldine, God bless her soul, passed away. If we'd have been one of those schools, one of those businesses, she would have never had the opportunity to fulfill a lifelong dream. She would have never had an opportunity to feel like she was a part of something that was changing the world. Alice in Wonderland. What does that have to do with leadership? Well, at South Heights Elementary, we do plays. And we don't just do like little elementary plays in the gym and invite our kindergarten parents. We do middle school and high school plays. And we perform in a fine arts center to crowds of over 1,000, 1,500 sometimes. We get professional sets. We have professional costumes done. Any 3rd through 5th grader that wants to be in the play, as long as they guarantee they'll work hard, can be in the play in some aspect, and they work all year on it. This year we're going to be doing Lion King, and I would sing a little bit, but I'm a bad singer. But let's talk about that. Why do we do plays? It's not on the test. There is no arts component to the state test in Kentucky. We do it because we have to build successes in our students. Our students come from challenging homes, and they're already strong, but we need to do something that provides them something that they can go back to after they leave us. So here's some stories. There was a young man, had a difficult time reading, didn't like to read, wasn't very good at it, just didn't put the time until we did a play. And to be in that play and to be the lead, he had to read the script. And then he took off. This young man, I wish I could say his name, will be on Broadway one day. He's incredible. He played the lead in every play. But you know what? Now he's a distinguished reader because he found relevance through the arts. We had another young lady, had a hearing impairment, severe hearing impairment. She sang a solo on stage during The Little Mermaid. Had another young lady, and she can't walk without the assistance of crutches. Danced a beautiful choreographed dance. These are things that they can go back to in time of challenge. It gets lodged in their synapses, in their brain, and they can pull them back. And I've got some personal evidence. See, Alice, that's my girl. All right. She battled severe anxiety her whole life. Still is. It's not something that's going to go away. She just got to learn how to battle it. Well, when she came to me at the beginning of 5th grade and said, Dad, I'm going to try out for Alice, I have to admit here, and she hasn't heard this, but she's probably watching now, I was, oh my gosh, I thought on a whole year of anxiety, she's going to have to memorize lines, this is going to be crazy, and she'll probably get up on stage and throw up in front of 1,500 people. It wasn't going to be a good situation, but you know what? She was anxious. She did battle through the year, and she got up on stage and she sang, That's My Girl, and it was beautiful, and she didn't throw up. But here's why it's so important. That was 5th grade. The next year, 6th grade, she had to go to middle school. It was the first time she was going to be away from me. So I remember driving her on the first day of school, and I drove her up, and as we got closer, I could feel the tension. You know, middle school's tense for anybody, especially someone that has some battles already. And I could see it, you could see she just got quiet, tears started welling up, and she looked at me and she said, Dad, I don't know if I can do this. But then I was able to go back, and I was able to say, yes, you can. And she goes, why? How do you know that? And I said, because you were Alice. And then you could just see the strength start her toes and go up through her body. She gave me a kiss and walked out. And she's tackled every challenge ever since because we embrace the arts. All right. It's a cool boy right there. His name's Jordan. Now, I'm going to propose something to you guys, and you might think, man, that's crazy. I don't know. I'm going to propose the belief that it's okay to lie to kids for their greater good. I know that's weird coming from a principal, but hear me out, hear me out. Several years ago, when this young man was in 1st grade, he came in on the first day of school when everybody's coming off the bus and mamas are bringing him in, and he said, Mr. Carroll, I want to do the world's largest conga line. And, I'm out there busy, hundreds of kids and parents. I was like, okay, Jordan, yeah, go on. And I pat him on the back. Not very good of me to grow leaders like that. But he went to class, and we kind of got into the school year. In September, the state of Kentucky has the highest attendance day. All the schools compete to see who has the highest attendance day. And every year, I'm principal for 19 years, I forget about it. So the day before, the paper called me and said, okay, Rob, what are you doing? You go big or go home. What are you doing for this? And I'm like stammering, like, oh, we're going to do the world's largest conga line. And then I immediately hung up, and I ran down the hall to my consultant, and I pulled him out of 1st grade classroom. I said, oh, we got to do the world's largest conga line. Jordan, what do we need? And he said, well, we're going to need Mr. Powers to be our DJ and find some conga line music stat. He said, we're going to have to get everybody and get all the cars moved and get everybody out in the front parking lot. Nobody can move until everybody's out there and ready to dance. And then you've got to take care of figuring out what the world's largest conga line record is. So I didn't have a whole lot of time, nor did I want to mess with it, so I made it up. And that next morning, we got up, and we got all of our students there, and we got the music ready, the cars were gone, and I announced on the intercom on high attendance day that we were breaking the world's record for world's largest conga line held by Sagebrush Elementary in Sagebrush, Texas. I don't even know if there's such a school. But my kids were pumped. They were ready. And as we called them out, they're all filing past me because I'm on the intercom, and they're coming out the front door, and they're going, yeah, Sagebrush is going down. We're taking this record. All right, so we get out there. We've got 700 adults and kids all together, and we're all like this. And if you try to get everybody in a conga line without letting them move, involving kindergartners and lunchroom ladies, it's not an easy task. But here's why it's okay. Here's why it's okay. It's okay because I put that man at the front of the line. I put that man at the front of the line. And here's what I noticed. We started the music, and it takes forever for the movement to start. Once he started dancing, to go all the way through the line, but he kept looking back, and he kept looking back. I'm like, well, what are you doing? And then I noticed whenever the movement made it all the way through the line, tears came streaming down his face. At that point, we created an innovator. At that point, we created a young man that I don't call Jordan anymore. I call Innovation Brother. And I want to let you know, I'm letting the cat out of the bag. We're currently working on, before he leaves for 6th grade, breaking the fictitious world's largest whip and nay-nay record ever. We will get that done this year. So that's why I believe it's okay to lie to kids for their greater good. All right. See this guy? That's me. Don't look too happy. Well, here's the history. Back in 1988, I had that same look on my face, but I was at Murray State University, and I was a proud member of the ATO fraternity. I love my fraternity so much that I decided to get a tattoo. I did. But here's what I've learned, being a principal. It's not much different being a principal than it is being a member of a fraternity. Because, well, minus the drinking and the hazing. It is about getting diverse groups of people to come together so tightly, bonded so tightly, that they're willing to kill for each other. So, that was that's not 1988. 1988, I got a tattoo right on the inside of this ankle, ATO, and I wore it proudly. And so right about my mid-30s, I decided that I was going to get the 1199 tattooed on my other ankle. So I knew I would need about 10 to 12 years to start working on my wife before she would give me permission. So I would just ask every year, can I get a tattoo? Can I get a tattoo? No, no, no. Finally, for whatever reason, this summer, I wore down. They were like verbal kidney shots. I just kept, can I get a tattoo? And I guess she thought maybe this was my version of a midlife crisis. So she let me get a tattoo. And I have it on the inside of my ankle, and I would show it to you, but I'm afraid I might fall over. There's my proof. But here's how I'm going to end it today. My goal is not to convince you to get a tattoo. It's not. It's kind of scary, and it hurts. I'm not going to lie. My goal is for you to understand that your role as leaders is to create a culture so strong, so incredible, where your people, no matter what business you're in, feel like heroes, that they consider it. Thank you.